Well, hello there everyone, my name is Amy, this is the Opinionated Woman, and welcome to Crafty Reads, a series where I craft something and we talk about the last 5 books that I've read. I am 16 squares away from being done with the granny squares from my friend's sweater. Need to be done by February. So I've been hustling these freaking squares, so I'm hoping Crafty Reads will help me hustle through a few more. Oh, I need scissors. I got some. Okay. Oh! By the way, if you have been watching my Crafty Reads, you may recognize this top. I finished making it. I put it on social media. I think it looks so pretty. It's definitely not for the type of days that we've been having that are like 34 degrees. But it's pretty. So I might take it off after following, but I promise you it's really nice. I like it a lot. So without further ado, let's talk about some books. The first book that I read was Human Croquet by Atkinson. This is a really weird historical fiction with fantastical elements. So we're following Isabel Fairfax mainly, who's part of the Fairfax family. They used to be like quite an institution in the area, but now they're like kind of down on their luck. And it's about her life growing up and getting interested in boys and like different family dynamics that they've got within their like very mixed household. But every now and again, Isabel will step out of time. She will step through a gate and then she won't be in her neighborhood anymore. She'll be what it looked like 50 years before, like before the suburb even existed. And then once she steps close to a tree and really wants to not be found, and she turns into that tree, and then she just sort of like exits the tree in a dainty manner and like escapes. So yeah, it's got some really interesting fantastical elements to it, and the way that she did the chapters were kind of strange, and sometimes you weren't sure who you were reading from. But at the same time, it was so intriguingly written and the fantastical elements just kept on popping up. And then we started making like all these connections between the family that we were watching currently, her and her mom and dad and her brother and her aunt. But we start to see like the past before she was around, like maybe when her parents had started dating and stuff like that. We see like little bits of these things because her mother has run away. It's very intriguing, it's very weird. I know why it's so highly spoken about. Then I read Keep This to Yourself by Tom Ryan, and this is a YA thriller, and to be honest, I have more successful YA thrillers than I do adult thrillers. I mean, I read much more adult thrillers, but I feel like I get more hits with the YA thrillers. So this book is set a year after the serial killings of someone called the Catalog Killer happened in this small town on the coast. And Mac, our main character, his friend Connor was the final murder in this Catalog Killer thing. So there's a year later, they are graduating, they're just about to go out and like explore their life, and Mac starts getting very like caught up in the details because he finds a pack of comic books that Connor had left for him on the night that he died, and this letter says like, meet me in the caves, don't tell anyone about it, keep this to yourself. And Mac never saw the letter, so he never went, and the caves is where Connor ended up dying. So no one was ever caught, you know, so they were really like they just got this feeling like business isn't dealt with, and they need to find out who killed Connor and the rest of these people, and whether it was a separate killing or whether it was the serial killer. And it's really well done. The characters are very, very well fleshed out. The main character is gay, which is nice. And there's some really, really good twists in this book. Like some really, really good twists that I did not see coming. And I just thought it was really well executed. This is the second that I've read from Tom Ryan, and I really like him as a queer YA mystery author. Then I read The Rendezvous and Other Stories by Daphne du Maurier, and I love Daphne du Maurier's writing. The last book of hers that I read was My Cousin Rachel. I've read Jamaica Inn, I've read Hungry Hill, and of course I've read Rebecca. So these are her short stories, and she wrote a lot of these short stories from the perspective of men, which is interesting. Like, there weren't very many perspectives of women at all, which I thought was a little bit strange. But overall, I really enjoyed this collection. I can't really tell you that it's about one particular topic, because it's not. Like, the stories don't interconnect in any kind of way. The Rendezvous, the title story, is about an author who goes to an event and he's meeting up with a fan and he thinks it's romantic. And it's not actually romantic. She's not interested in him in that way. She sees him as a much older gentleman, which he is not happy about coming to terms with. And it tells a very awkward story of him realizing that and going to this rendezvous with this person that had no intention of giving him romantic time of day at all. It's so awkward. There's also another one of my favorite stories was a woman who, she's at home, she just decides to go for a walk, goes for a walk, comes back, and she comes back in a different time period. So her house is not her house anymore, her daughter is not around anymore, and she's getting really confused. And that one was very interesting. So yeah, if you haven't tried Daphne du Maurier's short stories, I recommend it. I'm not a huge short story person, but this one hit the spot. Then I read A Mutual Connection by Kay Clare, and I was sent an arc of this by the author. And oh my god, it's so good. This series is the leads to this series, and this is the third one in the series, A Mutual Connection. Who is Hootie? So we're following Z, who goes by they, them pronouns, and they are a cam person, and so they do like live streams and stuff like that, and they are friends with someone called Mio on Twitter. And they talk to Mio about themselves, and they're quite open about their like roommates and stuff like that, but they never like talk about like where they live or anything like that. And Milo is very, very strict about using Ier's personal life in their conversations. So he keeps them at a distance almost. And so in a shocking turn of events, so Milo knows what Z looks like, but Z doesn't know what Milo looks like. And Z gets an apprenticeship at this really queer tattoo shop. And Milo just so happens to come to do a tattoo residency at the shop at the same time. So Milo knows who Z is, but Z doesn't know that Milo is Mio. And we get this like awkward sort of figuring out, like, are they going to tell each other, are they not going to tell each other, because it kind of got sexual at one point, and like the dynamics and everything like that. But I think it was handled really well. It took Kay Clare a while to write this book. I know he said that they struggled getting this trope right, but I think they nailed it. And the sex scenes are so good. I really am not a spice person, like in the slightest. I skip a lot of spice because it can be so awkward sometimes, but I will never skip Kay Clare's spice, because oh my gosh, they write it so freaking well. So if you can get hold of the series, like, I really recommend it. I highly recommend you pick it up. And the last book that I read was All Fours by Miranda July. What a fucking strange book. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year. It's so weird. I can see why it was on all of the prizes and stuff like that for when it came out. Because this is following our main character. What is her name? You know when you go through an entire book and you realize that you actually might not know the main character's name? Is it just me, or did they just not show her name in this book? This has happened to me multiple times. That's funny. So this artist has some business to do in New York. She lives in LA, and she decides that she wants to drive across the country to get to New York instead of flying. And I was like, okay, cool, it's going to be like an interesting road trip kind of story. Nope. She gets 20 minutes outside of LA and stops in this tiny little town called Monrovia. And she meets this man at the local gas station, and he cleans her window, and she notices him, and then she starts like talking to him and developing kind of like an attraction towards this man. And she decides to get a place at the motel, and she then decides, oh no, I don't like this motel room, I'm going to get it renovated. So she's telling her husband and her child that she's on the road, and like she's in this place, she's in this place, and how's her road trip going and everything like that, whereas she's actually 20 minutes away in a scuzzy little motel room that she's now renovating to be more to her personal taste. And she stays around that town and develops this very strange relationship with this much younger man. And it's so fucking odd. It's so raw and intimate and messy. Oh my God. And the way that this relationship then develops into her changing some dramatic things about her life are really interesting, like finding a better way of her to exist so that she's not feeling like she's missing out on something all the time. I just thought it was really well done. It's so, I don't want to spoil some of the fucking strange and weird shit that happens in this fucking book, but you need to read it so that you can find out about it. The author is trans, the main character is cis, but the author is trans, and she's just a very strange fucking weird weirdo, and I love it. So highly recommend All Fours by Miranda July. And that is everything that I read this month. Not this month, that's the last 5 books that I've read. I hope you enjoyed them. Have you read any of them, particularly All Fours? Because that one was like a huge hit with me this month. If you want to see, down below, I always have my Kofi link, which is one time tip jar if you ever want to support my channel. I've also got Instagram and TikTok link down below, and a link to my shop to buy my crochet creations. So everything you need from me, it's all down below. And other than that, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll check you next time.